Hi there, this is Reed from Blue Bear Quilts, and I am an Island Batik ambassador, and this is my September project. It's called Southwest Star 60, and it was made with Island Batik's Simply Southwest fabric line and also the Studio 180 Star 60 ruler. I hope you like it. I'm starting to make my quilt. As an Island Batik ambassador for my September project, it's going to be called Southwest 60. And I'm using the Deb Tucker Studio 180 Star 60 ruler in order to make this quilt. And it comes with this nice 60-degree ruler with lots of lines on it that are very helpful, and then these great instructions. So the quilt is composed of units, and the units are basically these side triangles, which are what I'm cutting out now, and then there's a diamond shape that's going to go in between those two triangles, and for me that diamond shape is actually going to be pieced, so that's why I don't have it to show you yet. But let me show you how easy it is to cut out these shapes with the ruler. So in order to cut those side triangles, the instructions tell you what size strip you need to cut. I am making an 8-inch unit, so the strips that I need to cut for those side triangles are 5 inches. So this is a 5-inch width strip, and I actually have 2 different fabrics on top of each other, and they're folded because these are equilateral triangles, so it doesn't matter which side is right and wrong for this cutting purpose. And you have to look for the 5-inch line on the ruler and place it on the bottom edge, and then there's a little notch that sticks off at the top. So I have the 5-inch line along the bottom edge, and I'm going to make the first cut along here, and then I'm going to rotate this and get it lined up again. It slipped a little bit. There we go, and then make the second cut along here. And then we have 4 perfectly cut out side triangles of each color. So that's how easy it is. You just figure out how many of these you need to make and cut as many as you need for each color. And this is the unit that I'm creating for the quilt. And the part I'm going to be demonstrating today is how to make this checkerboard section that's in the middle. And of course we are using the Studio 180 Star 60 ruler to create these units. So in order to make those checkerboards, we have to have strips sewn together, and there's a chart in the instructions that tells you what size these strips need to be. They were 2 3/4, and I'm sewing a light one to a dark one and pressing them open. And then I took the Star 60 tool and made this angular cut, and now I'm going to continue making cuts across the strip at the same size as one of the strips, so that would be 2 3/4. So we're going to line up the straight edge ruler with 1, 2 3/4 along the right edge. And make that cut. And we just continue across, making those cuts all the way across the strips. Now that we have the units all split apart, we're going to line them up like this, put them like this, but as you can see, it's kind of hard to sew because there's tips that are sticking off on both ends, so we have to mark this with a 1/4 inch so that we'll know exactly where to sew. And to do that, you just put a ruler along there and put a little mark on. So the marks are made at a 1/4 inch in, and you can see I have one there and one there, and then you're going to take and pin, and to do that I start by putting one pin in the middle right right where those lines are and where they intersect with the seam. And then I put a pin on either side. Then once we've got them all pinned, we sew them with a nice 1/4 inch, right like that. And then when we open it up, we have perfectly matched points. And then the next thing I need to do is trim this unit up. So to trim it up, I take the star 60 ruler and put the 4-inch line so that it's intersecting at those points, and then trim off one side. And it's nice to have a rotating mat, and then trim off the other side. And there you go, perfectly trimmed up. Now that we have it trimmed up, we're going to add the side triangles like this. And so you put the first one like this, and notice how it lines up perfectly with that corner, and it's going to stick out a little bit beyond here. And you're going to sew this right along there like that, and it's easiest to sew it from the back side with the checkerboard on top. And then once you've done that, you're going to press it towards the checkerboard, and then you're going to add the next side triangle, flip that over. We didn't have it lined up right. This goes at the top. Flip that over, and again, notice how that lines up perfectly. And this time it's going to be easiest to sew it from the top, and so you sew right along like that. And then you end up with a unit that looks like this. Now I have the units numbered because there are 112 units in this quilt, and so that was the only way I could keep track of all of them, was in order to have them numbered. So this is what the unit looks like before it gets its final trim up. And on the back, you can see that it's been pressed so that it's all pressed to one side, and that's going to help the blocks nest together when I put several of them together. And then you'll also notice on the 4 patch that I have pressed the seams open, which that's going to help the quilt to lay a lot flatter. So once you've done this, sewed both of the side triangles on, it's time to trim it up again. And so again, we're going to take and we're going to put that, this is an 8-inch unit, so we're going to take and put that 4-inch crosshairs right there on top of those two, and then make sure that it's lined up here, straight line, and is basically going to the corner there. And we're going to trim here and here. And then at the bottom, there's a straight edge on the ruler where you put this 1/4 inch from this point and trim up the bottom. And once you've trimmed these up, this is what the unit looks like. And that is a perfectly trimmed up unit that's ready to be added to the quilt.